Welcome to the introduction session of SL01 Advanced Business Reporting ABR. So I am your lecturer Dasun Mendis. I am taking you through the financial reporting part of this SL1 paper. So first of all, these are the areas that we are going to cover in the presentation in this introduction session. First of all, get to know your examination, what is the syllabus weightage and the paper structure of SL1 paper. Thereafter, recent changes to the syllabus in terms of the SLFRSs, as well as in terms of the risk and material misstatements which were introduced in the recent examination cycles. We need to look at these aspects. Especially SLFRSs are relevant with the financial reporting aspect. Risk of material misstatements are relevant to the governance, risk and ethics part, right? So the details about that particular topic would be discussed by the lecturers who are covering the risk, governance and ethics part. But I'll be discussing in a short what are the main changes in terms of both SLFRSs and the risk of material misstatements. Thereafter, course content, how I'm going to deliver this course, right? So the approach that I'm going to follow. Thereafter, study plan that you need to adhere into. And finally, prerequisite for the examination success, right? So first of all, you should understand this particular paper is a paper which look at integrative or integrated perspective, which means it's a holistic paper. It's not purely about the financial reporting. In addition to the financial reporting, this paper particularly guides you to act as a CFO in the future. So because of that, yes, you need to have the knowledge about the financial reporting aspect. In addition to that, you also should know that, okay, how to identify the risk of material misstatements by looking at a set of financial statements, how to do the analysis by looking at the figures in the financial statements, right? So what are the relevant governance aspects that you need to know when you are working for an organization? All these things would be covered in this paper. Now, if I look at the weightage of the syllabus, 35% of the syllabus consists of SLFRSs. We know there are about 40 accounting standards have been issued by CASriLanka, right? So out of these standards, most of the standards are within the SL1 syllabus, so which consists of 35% of the syllabus. So thereafter, group accounts, which means consolidation, how to prepare the consolidated financial statements, right? When you have a parent company and subsidiaries, you might have an associate, you might have a foreign subsidiary. You need to learn about how to prepare the consolidated cash flow in addition to the consolidated statement of profit and loss and consolidated statement of financial position. All these things would be included, so which consists of 20% of the syllabus. Thereafter, as mentioned, emphasis was given in terms of the risk of material misstatements by looking at the set of financial statements, how to identify risk of material misstatements, right? So which consists of 25% of the syllabus. And thereafter, governance and non-financial reporting. Non-financial reporting in the sense things like integrated reporting, right? So which covers 15% of the syllabus. And finally, 5% of the syllabus consists of ethics. So out of these 5 areas, what I'm going to cover is SLFRSs as well as the group accounts, right? So the relevant areas of the financial reporting. So these 3 topics would be covered by the lecturer who is teaching the risk, governance and ethics part, right? Moving on. So thereafter, you also should be aware about the exam format, how your paper structure is, right? So it's a 3 hours paper, pass mark is 50%, but don't target for 50, target for 90, then at least you'll be end up by getting 50, right? So then if you look at the structure of the paper, there are 2 sections, section 1 and section 2. So the marks allocation is 50 marks for the 2 questions in section 1, which means section 1 consists of 2 questions, each carries 25 marks. So that's how these 50 marks are consist of. These are actually scenario based questions, right? Not the direct questions about the accounting standards, not the definitions and all that. So these are scenario based questions. Application of the syllabus areas would be tested in these 2 questions what is there in the section number 1. So thereafter, section 2 consists of one question that is actually based on the common pre-seen, right? So you'll be given the unseen scenario in the examination, and there are questions. In terms of this section 2 or this particular question, 50-mark question, you would definitely have consolidation adjustment. Consolidation areas are tested in this particular unseen. Okay, based on the common pre-seen, there will be an unseen, then the consolidation areas would be tested definitely over here. In addition to that, in addition to the consolidation, you will be tested about the accounting standards, risk of material misstatements, or any other area of the syllabus what we discussed earlier, right? Unseen based on the common pre-seen given. Right, so now we know that what is the syllabus weightage as well as how the paper structure is. That's about your examination. Moving on, as I mentioned earlier, recently, that is in 2023, there was a curriculum change. Before that, actually, in this paper, there was a part called auditing. Auditing standards were tested, right? But now, with this curriculum change, as I mentioned earlier, this paper focuses on how you are going to act as a future CFO. You need to have a holistic view about the financial reporting aspect. Not only to know about the standards and the consolidation, but by analyzing, by looking at set of financial statements, how to interpret those financial statements. Then how to identify risk of material misstatements in the financial statements. For an example, let's say under the current economic context, right? So the buying power, purchasing power of the people are poor. So because of that, now the organization that you are talking about is in the, let's assume, in the FMCG industry. So the goods that they manufacture, produce are having a less demand. So the people are not consuming. Then what will happen is there can be an inventory accumulation. Then as the CFO, he should have the mindset to identify now there can be a situation of inventory overvaluation. Because why? Once the inventory items are there in your warehouse for a longer period, there might be a possibility of what? Obsolete inventory would be created. So he has to know that, okay, there can be a risk of material misstatement. I have to check that whether the inventory valuation is correct. Cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. In addition to that, the machinery, plant and machinery that you use to produce these goods, if you don't have a demand for the products that the company manufacture, so these plant and machinery items might be what? Idling. So that's trigger to a what? Impairment indicator. So what I'm telling is that is the CFO's perspective, not to look at P&L and balance sheet and say that this is the performance, this is the financial performance, this is the financial position. He has to identify these are the areas where there can be risk of material misstatements that would be there in the financial statements. So with the curriculum change, so it looks at CFO's perspective of identifying risk of material misstatements. There are learning outcomes included into your syllabus in terms of this particular matter. As I mentioned earlier, there were auditing standards which are tested in this paper. Now those have been removed, but the knowledge, basic knowledge about the auditing is important, right? Like internal control, inherent risk, control risk. So you should know about these concepts, but directly auditing standards are not going to be tested. As well as audit procedures have been taken out from the paper SL01 with this curriculum change. Right, so then moving into the important aspect, that is about what are the changes which were taken into account in terms of the financial reporting. Actually, in terms of financial accounting and reporting pillar relevant to your subject, that is SL1, these are the changes that was applicable from December 2023 paper onwards, right? So these changes were actually applicable from December 2023 paper onwards. That means definitely for your examination also these changes are applicable. So if you look at the changes, so these changes are actually relevant with the accounting standards. There are 4 accounting standards. Number 1 is SL01 insurance contract. Now earlier, before this change, this particular standard was not within the syllabus. But now it is included within the syllabus. That means you should know about this standard, SL01 17 insurance contract. This is mostly important for the insurance companies where they enter into, or their main business is to enter into the insurance contracts with the clients, right? So how to account for these insurance contract is the main area which is covered in SL01 17. But the good news is this is introduced, but if this is tested in the examination, that's going to be tested as level C testing. What does that mean? So I told you earlier, you have about 40 accounting standards, right? Altogether, you have 40 accounting standards. Now, all these standards, when it comes to the testing of the examination, is not given the same depth, which means examiner is not expecting students to have the same amount or same level of knowledge in terms of all these standards. Because of that, what happens is, when it comes to these accounting standards, those have been categorized into 3 levels, I would say. Level A testing, level B testing, and level C testing. Okay, A, B, and C, right? Now, SL01 17 insurance contract is going to be tested, if it is tested in the examination, as level C testing. But to understand level C, you should know level A and level B. What does that mean by level A testing? What do you mean by level A testing? Which means if a particular standard is tested as a level A standard, the student should have a thorough knowledge about the standard, and they should know that how to apply the standard for a complicated accounting matter, complicated transaction. That means you need to know the details. You have to go into depth and understand about that particular standard. That is level A testing. When it comes to level B means good knowledge. In level A, thorough knowledge, but level B, good knowledge. Good knowledge about the standard, and the students should aware how to apply this standard for a moderately complicated transaction. Moderately complicated transaction or accounting matter or accounting issue, right? That is about the level B testing. Level C testing means where examiner is expecting only a conceptual knowledge about the standard, and the standard application would be with regard to a simple accounting matter, simple transaction. Now, with regard to the insurance contracts, which means students should have a conceptual knowledge. You should understand, okay, what is the scope of this standard? So what is the model, or there are a few models which is discussed in SL01 17 insurance contract standard. What are these main models which are discussed in the standard? What are the recognition, measurement, presentation, and the disclosure requirements to apply the standard for a simple, straightforward transaction? So if it is tested in the examination, it would be a very basic question, right? Okay. So we'll be learning about this standard over the course, right? So we'll do a video. I'll be doing a video with regard to this. So there you can understand the details about the standard. That is actually the first change in terms of the financial reporting pillar. Then the second area in terms of the financial reporting pillar, or in terms of the accounting standard, is LKS1, presentation of financial statements. With regard to this standard, there are a couple of changes actually. One is with regard to the classification of liabilities into current or non-current. So, you know, when you are presenting liabilities in the statement of financial position, what we need to do? We have to classify them into either a current or non-current liabilities. So there are certain new rules, provisions have been introduced in terms of the classification of liabilities into current and non-current. So we'll be looking that over the lecture series. So I'll do a video where you will understand. I'm not going to explain about the rules and the provisions at this moment because this is an introduction video. So what I wanted to mention you is, okay, there's a change like this has happened. So we'll be discussing about these changes once we go through the video lectures. Right. So then LKS1 has one more change, that is with regard to the accounting policy disclosures. Before this change, if you can remember, when it comes to accounting policies are part of set of financial statements, one element of financial statements of the organization. What accounting policies are to be disclosed before this revision? You have to disclose significant accounting policies which are applicable for the particular organization. The word significant. With this change, with this amendment or with this update, what has happened is, what entities are required to do is to disclose the material accounting policies. You should understand, okay, where or in what situation an accounting policy would become material. Yet again, we'll be discussing that in detail once I go through the lecture series. Right, so that is about the second standard, LKS1. Then the next standard where there's a change in terms of the financial reporting pillar, in terms of the accounting standard, is LKS8. Accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. So that is the name of the standard. What is the change is, even though this standard was there for a long period of time, up until this revision, there was no definition for the accounting estimates. What do you mean by accounting estimate? We know there are a lot of accounting estimates that we make when preparing the financial statements, right? Example, when we have a property, plant and equipment item, we need to estimate what is the useful life of the property, plant and equipment item. So the useful life is an accounting estimate. But there was no definition for the word accounting estimate. With the update or with the revision, there is now a definition for the word accounting estimates. We'll again look at once we discuss this matter in terms of a video lecture. Right. Then we discuss about the changes in terms of the SLFR 17, LKAS 1, LKAS 8. The last change is in terms of LKS 12, income tax standard. You know, income tax standard consists of two things, current tax and deferred tax. Current tax is the amount of tax that you pay to the government based on your taxable profit. Deferred tax is an accountant's adjustment to take the tax effect of a particular transaction to the relevant accounting period. And these are a bit of a, I would say, a technical, and students believe that it's a complex accounting standard, but it's not. When you understand the logic, it's not complex. But anyway, so what the standard says is, especially in terms of the deferred taxes, when there's a temporary difference, either taxable or deductible temporary difference, you need to recognize the deferred tax impact, which means you need to recognize the deferred tax liability or the deferred tax asset. So that is the general rule in the standard. But in para 15 and 24 of this standard LKS 12, it provides certain exemptions to this general rule, which means if the criteria mentioned in para 15 and 24 are satisfied, even though there's a temporary difference, you don't need to recognize the deferred tax asset and the liabilities. So exemptions were given in the standard. But what is the change? What is the revision? What is the update? Update is these exemptions were narrowed down. Right? So certain exemptions which were given in the standard have been reduced, narrowed down. I'm not going to explain at this moment about these exemptions and what is narrowed down, because why it's technical standard. Once we do the standard, I will explain about, okay, what is the changes. So in brief, so these are the main changes which has happened in the financial accounting and reporting pillar, or in terms of the accounting standards, which is applicable for your syllabus. And as I mentioned, accounting standards consist of what? Altogether 35% weightage when it comes to your paper SL1. Right. Moving on. Right. Now I am going to look at how are we going to, basically how I am going to deliver this course. Okay. So during the next 5 months period, what are you going to do? What I am going to do with you? So basically, as I mentioned at the beginning, the course is split into two modules, essential theory module and the exam preparation module. So essential theory module, how I do that is actually through the recorded videos. All topics of the theory, all theory topics are covered in way of recorded videos. Those recorded videos would be uploaded into the LMS on weekly basis, right? Every Friday we'll be uploading a video. First set of videos are now uploaded into your LMS, okay? Right. So then when I'm discussing this theory module, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to discuss any questions. Actually, questions are discussed to cover each and every learning outcome within the theory module itself, right? So you don't need to wait until the revision to do the questions. No, to cover each and every learning outcome of the syllabus, a question is discussed. So where you can understand about the application of theory into the particular topic, okay? So, right, so in terms of the essential theory module, the important aspect is, as I mentioned, these videos are available in the LMS in the way of recorded video format. So because of that, I will explain you the study plan that you need to follow. That means the sequence of uploading the videos and when you need to complete by watching that particular video. That is very important in terms of the study plan of the essential theory module. Now let's look at the study plan of the essential theory module. So this particular study plan, the table consists of 3 columns: section, video name and the date. So the first section is asset related standards. There are 9 asset related standards starting from LKS 16 property, plant and equipment, LKS 40 investment property, LKS 23 borrowing cost, LKS 38 intangible assets, LKS 36 impairment of assets, LKS 20 accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance, SLFRS 5 non-current asset held for sale and discontinued operations, LKS 2 inventory, LKS 41 agriculture. So these 9 asset related standards have already been uploaded into the LMS now, right? So as mentioned, so the videos would be uploaded to your LMS on weekly basis every Friday. That is for you to watch these videos during the weekend. It doesn't mean that you just need to watch the videos during the weekend only, right? So the model offered here is convenient for you because you can watch these videos at any time from anywhere, any number of times that you prefer. So, but the videos, as I mentioned, would be uploaded on weekly basis. So the 9 asset related standards have been already uploaded into the LMS. So then thereafter, conceptual and regulatory framework. So those would be uploaded to LMS on 11th July. Then there are 5 standards under the topic of presentation of financial statements, SLFRS 13 fair value measurement, LKS 1 presentation of financial statements, LKS 8 accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors, LKS 34 interim financial reporting, and LKS 10 events after the reporting period. So those standards would be uploaded into the LMS by 18th of July. After that, LKS 37 provisions, contingent liabilities and contingent assets would be uploaded on 25th of July. And one of the important standard, SLFRS 15, revenue from contracts with customers, repeatedly tested in the examination, right? It would be uploaded on 1st of August. Moving on, couple of disclosure related standards, SLFRS 8 operating segments and LKS 24 related party disclosures would be uploaded on 8th August. Then employee benefits, that is LKS 19, would be uploaded on 15th August. Then other important area of the syllabus, financial instruments, repeatedly tested in the examination, right? One of the preferred area of the examiner. There are 3 standards in terms of the financial instruments presentation, that is LKS 32, SLFRS 7 financial instruments disclosures, and SLFRS 9 financial instruments. So that would be uploaded. So those three standards will be uploaded into the LMS on 22nd August. Thereafter, SLFRS 2 share-based payments, 29th of August. Income taxes, LKS 12, which talks about the current tax and the deferred tax, would be uploaded on 5th of September. Leases, another important standard when it comes to the examination. It is getting tested repeatedly. SLFRS 16 leases on 12th September, right? So this is the date of uploading the videos into the LMS. Definitely, so those videos would be available in the LMS on these specified dates. Then there are three other standards: LKS 21, effects of changes in foreign exchange rates; LKS 7, statement of cash flows; SLFRS 17, insurance contracts, right? This is newly added standard, right? So those would be uploaded on 19th of September. Earnings per share, LKS 33, would be uploaded by 26th of September. By 26th of September, all the accounting standards except for two standards would be uploaded into the LMS. So I'll explain about those two standards in a little while. So that means 35% of your syllabus, I told you, it's about the accounting standards, which are completed and uploaded into the LMS by 26th of September. Then move into the other important area of the syllabus in terms of the financial reporting, that is consolidation. I start uploading these videos from 3rd October onwards, starting with principles of consolidation, basics of consolidation, right? Basics of consolidated statement of financial position, statement of profit and loss and OCI, right, would be, and the key topics like goodwill, bargain purchase, non-controlling interest would be discussed and uploaded on 3rd October. Then impairment of goodwill and how to account for the associate, the equity accounting for the associates, and joint arrangement. SLFRS 11, they are separate standard. SLFRS 11 joint arrangements, 10th October, it would be uploaded into the LMS, these two topics. Then acquisition of a subsidiary, that is when parent company acquires subsidiary, how to apply the acquisition accounting. In addition to that, there are accounting criteria in terms of the consolidation topics like step acquisition. Step acquisition means you acquire the control over a subsidiary not at once but in stages. For example, let's say you initially acquire 40% and thereafter you acquire another 30% after some time. Then how are we going to do the accounting for a step acquisition? Those would be discussed and uploaded into the LMS on 17th October. Then disposal of a subsidiary, how to account for disposal of subsidiaries. That is, let's say you have a subsidiary, now you dispose it. How are you going to account for that? Now this disposal can be under different scenarios. It can be an entire disposal, which means you had 80%, you disposed entire 80%. Then it's an entire disposal. Or it can be a partial disposal. For example, let's say you had 80%, you dispose 50% and you retain 30%. So the subsidiary would become what? Associate. Then how are you going to account? Or else you had 80%, you dispose 70% and you retain just 10%. Subsidiary has become a normal financial asset. How to account for that? Or it can be a situation of a disposal, you still retain the control after the disposal. For example, let's say you had 80%, you dispose 20%. That means after the disposal, you retain 60%. Still you have the control, right? That is called as control to control scenario. So that control to control scenario would be discussed under the other changes in the group structure. So those topics would be uploaded into the LMS on 24th of October. Next topic is complex groups. Complex groups means you can have a vertical group, parent, subsidiary, sub-subsidiary. Or it can be a D-shaped group. I'll explain about these concepts once I go through the topics. So what I'm telling is those complex group structures and the group reorganization, different ways a group can be reorganized, right? So it's actually a theory part. Group reorganization is a theory part. So complex groups and the group reorganizations would be uploaded on 31st of October. And thereafter, how to account for a foreign subsidiary, group accounting in terms of the foreign currency. So the parent is in Sri Lanka, subsidiary is in Bangladesh. Two different currencies. Parent's currency is rupees, right? That is Sri Lankan company, and subsidiary is in Bangladesh, currency is taka. Then how to do the consolidation once you have different currencies, right? So those areas would be uploaded on 7th of November. And also consolidated statement of cash flow. Now in this level, you should know each and every aspect of consolidation, not only the consolidated statement of financial position and consolidated profit and loss statement, you also should know how to prepare the consolidated cash flow statement. And also you should know how to prepare the consolidated cash flow statement when you have foreign subsidiaries involved, right? Foreign subsidiary, consolidated cash flow statement, right? That is about the two topics what I'm going to discuss and upload on 14th of November. Then I told you two standards I keep at the end and upload. Those two standards are actually SLFRS for SME, SLFRS for small and medium entities, and SLFRS 1 first time adoption of Sri Lanka accounting standards. Why I upload these two sections after completing the consolidation? Now the consolidation would be completed on 14th November, and I'll be uploading these two standards after that, because to understand these two standards you need to have the knowledge about the consolidation as well, right? So this is actually the session plan. In addition to that, in addition to these topics, I actually upload time to time few value added videos, like I explained to you at the beginning, SLFRS for S1 and S2, which is applicable for your examination, right? Even though this particular area is covered by the lecturer who is doing the risk governance and ethics part, I have done a video, I will upload that as well. And also I have done a separate video to link between the accounting standards and the risk of material misstatement. So I would upload that particular video as well as a kind of a value added video, in addition to the things what I have just explained in this lecture schedule. Okay, so this is the study plan. Now what I expect from you is actually to ensure that you watch and complete the video in that particular week, right? Don't wait until the end to look at everything. So don't procrastinate, because as I mentioned, videos are getting uploaded into the LMS on Friday. That is for you to watch during the weekend and complete. If you can't watch during the weekend, doesn't matter. Before the next week, somehow or the other you need to complete, because these videos can be accessed by any time from anywhere, and you can watch any number of times. So get the advantage of that model, because when we were studying we didn't have that opportunity, because if we miss a physical class, there's no way to cover up that particular topic. But now for you all it's not the case, right? It's very convenient. So take the maximum advantage out of it. Now the other thing what I want to mention is, if you are a full-time student, right? Full-time student, you have to spend enough time on your studies, at least 5 hours for a day, because being a full-time student and failing the examination is a crime, because you waste 6 months of your life. Don't do that. And even if you are a working person, so you can't have excuses, because you are a professional student, you are doing a professional qualification. At least 2 hours for a day you need to spend on the studies. So these 2 hours can be any time during the day. Maybe 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the night, or half an hour additional maybe while traveling, because if you have the access to the LMS, you can watch these videos at any time, right? So so this is what I wanted to mention under the study plan, and with that actually I complete the essential theory module. That is the first module of the course. Okay, then the second module is actually exam preparation module. This is, some people call this as revision module. Okay, so there what we learn is actually, what I teach you is how to apply the theory what you have learned to craft an answer through series of, I'll tell what the series is, through series of exam type questions. So there are past paper questions, all the past paper questions of the new syllabus, which means this particular syllabus, right? So all the past paper question of this particular syllabus, this syllabus was introduced in 2020. So all the past paper questions are covered. And in addition to that, in this module, I actually discuss a lot of international examination or the questions relating to the international examinations like CASriLanka, right? So the model questions. So there we look at how to apply the theory to craft an answer to get the full marks in the examination. And this particular module is done through a blended approach, which means there are certain videos which are available in the LMS in recorded video format. And in addition to that, I'm conducting live sessions to discuss additional questions, right? So it can be past paper questions, model questions, as well as pre-scene analysis, right? So the in-depth pre-scene analysis would be done in terms of the live sessions. So again, if you want to have an idea about how deep that we have gone into, so after this session, you can watch the last time pre-scene analysis that we have done. Okay, so that is available in the available in YouTube. Okay, right. So now in terms of the study plan, what areas or how much, I told you these are series of questions are discussed. So this exam preparation module, yet again, believe me, cover the 100% of the syllabus in way of questions. So what we have learned in the essential theory module would be covered in way of questions back again in the exam preparation module. So how do we do that is by looking at 70 accounting standards questions. All these 70 questions are exam type questions from the past papers as well as the model papers like CASriLanka papers, plus 15 consolidation questions. 15 consolidation questions, yet again all the past paper questions of your syllabus starting from 2020 plus few ACCA questions, right? 70 accounting standards, 15 consolidation questions. And the study plan is, I told you, this is done by way of a blended approach. So 80 hours of pre-recorded videos would be uploaded into the LMS, right? Plus 20 hours of live revision, right? 20 hours of live revision. Altogether, exam preparation module, 100 hours of revision, the entire syllabus in way of questions. And in terms of the revision, you don't look at any other thing. If you follow this exam preparation module, more than enough for you to successfully complete the examination. So the expectation from you is actually, in the essential theory module, don't procrastinate the work. Ensure that you watch and complete the videos in the particular week itself. Don't wait until the end. Then I'll be starting uploading the videos relevant to the exam preparation module, right, by about September onwards. We don't wait until the last month to start the revision. So by about the third month of the course, I'll be uploading the videos relevant to the exam preparation module. These are the exam type questions, right? And the last month we keep for the live revision. Last, I would say 1.5 months, we will keep for the live revision where additional past paper questions, model questions, and the pre-scene analysis would be discussed. So this is how I am going to deliver this course, the financial reporting aspect of this particular subject to you, for you to successfully complete the examination. Then prerequisite for the examination success. So for you to complete the examination, right, in the last cycle of this syllabus, what you need to do by yourself, right? So simple stuff. Learning with discipline, this is what I have mentioned. So don't procrastinate. Ensure that you watch and complete the video within the particular week itself. So I'm guaranteed that videos would be uploaded on the dates specified each Friday, where you must complete it during the weekend or at least before the next video is getting uploaded. That is what is meant by learning with discipline. Okay? And I told you the videos relevant to the exam preparation module would be uploaded from 3rd month of the course, which means from September onwards. There even, once it's uploaded, within that particular week, complete watching the video. Don't wait until the end. Then passion and living in the subject. This is what I mentioned. If you are a full-time student, your focus should be on the examination. So at least 5 hours for a day you need to spend on studying. Otherwise it's a waste of time. And if you are a working student, at least 2 hours for each day you need to spend on studies, because that is facilitated by way of the model that we follow here, right? Because it is in the recorded video format. You can watch at any time, anywhere, any number of times, get the maximum advantage out of that. So these 2 hours you can spend in the morning, in the night, or while traveling. It's up to you to decide. Okay, so you have to live within the subject throughout the entire 5 months of the course, right? You can't do work at the last minute and get through the examination, right? Then self power play for reflection, which means mind mapping. So once you watch the recorded videos, you will realize in most of these videos, almost each and every video, I actually do this mind mapping using diagrams, tables to explain you the concepts. So most of these things actually which I developed when I was studying, right? So what you do is, after studying the standard, get the key topics and develop your own mind map. So I will facilitate you by explaining what I have done, and I would explain these diagrams, tables in terms of the mind mapping throughout my lecture series, where you can get an understanding, and also you can do by your own as well. For each and every topic, after completing watching the video, you have to have a mind map. So we'll learn how to do that throughout the lecture series, but that is a key success for the student success, when it comes to the examination. Key factor for the student success when it comes to the examination. Then master the art of writing. So a lot of students, they write the answers for the very first time in the exam hall. Don't do that, because now you have the recorded videos available. You can watch the videos, then the tudes are uploaded to the LMS. You can download it and read these tudes. But the point that a lot of students are missing out is, you don't write and practice. So at least one question for each or every week you need to write by yourself and practice. So before looking at the answer, look at the question, write the answer, then look at the answer. So the best way to study is self-review. You can do the self-review for that, because you look at the question, then you answer, then look at the answer what I have given. Then you review by yourself and understand the mistakes that you have done. So this is important. Master the art of writing, because then only you can improve your time management skills as well. Because a lot of students the complaint of a lot of students of this paper is a bulky paper, bulky subject. So the time is not enough for the examination. Why it's not enough is, you have not practiced that before the examination. Okay, so these are the prerequisites that would ensure your success in the examination. Right. Then before completing, I would put some motivational messages. So American scientist as well as a writer, famous writer, Benjamin Franklin, what he said? Investment in knowledge pays the best interest. At this moment, if someone asks you what is the best investment that you can make, is what is the best investment? Not the investment in shares or investment in bonds, investment in knowledge. That would pay you the best interest, best return. Because now you are at the final stage of the chartered accountancy qualification. So once you complete the chartered accountancy, what is available to you? Right? Return. What is the return? First of all, prestige. You are recognized as a chartered accountant. People recognize you, respect you. Right? And you can mention in the passport, if you are, traveling, you are a chartered accountant. That adds a value. Right? You would become a global asset. Then the financial autonomy. Right? So you can spend on the things that you want. right? Money is not everything, but at this moment it is important for you, right? Then the society respect you, as I mentioned. Okay, so invest in knowledge. That is the best investment where you can make at this moment to get the highest return in the future. And there's another thought, another American writer, Robert Collier. What is it? Success is sum of the small efforts repeated. Now apply this to our context. So now there are a lot of topics in your syllabus. For each and every topic, there's a video uploaded. There can be different sections to cover a topic. What you can do? Watch one by one. That's why I said, like, okay, in the morning, if you can spend 30 minutes, spend on that. Thereafter, so in the night, and as I said, if possible, wherever you are, right? One by one, complete watching the videos. So these are what? Small efforts, small steps ultimately give you the success of completing the examination and become a chartered accountant in the future. Right. Okay, so with that actually, we are done with the introduction session. Right, I hope you understood what I have explained and you are motivated and enthusiastic to ensure that you complete this paper before the syllabus change is taken place, right, after this examination cycle. Now, if you have any questions, you can raise about the introduction, the session what I have done, or else even with regard to the other matters, how are you going to cover this course and all. Right, do you have any questions? So as I mentioned, soon after, so this introduction video would be uploaded into the LMS. Soon after the introduction video, we'll upload that changes in terms of the financial reporting. So the accounting standards, changes in terms of the accounting standard, that particular video as well. Then the asset related standards, 9 videos are already uploaded into the LMS. Right. So do you have any questions? Or if you don't have any questions, we can make a conclusion. So I wish you all the best to complete your examination in this examination cycle. Thank you. Yeah, so you can, so there are Telegram groups. Through that, you can raise the questions. So the admin team will direct the question to me. And also, I'm also in that group. So you can direct the questions. And even I'll be conducting few live sessions then and there. So the questions can be discussed on those live sessions. Any other questions? There are no MCQs in the examination, right? So as I mentioned, there are 2 sections, section 1 and section 2. Section 1, you have 2 25 marks questions, scenario based questions, and section 2, you have the unseen based on the common free scene, that is 50 marks, no MCQs. Any other questions? Right, okay, so then enjoy studying and ensure that you complete the, okay, one more question. Yeah, consolidated cash flow statement is there. Because this is the final level of the financial reporting, right? You should learn about everything here. Because this paper is not just for the completion of the examination, but also for the entire life. Because initially you will become an accountant, then finance manager, right? CFO, finance director. So wherever you are the champion in terms of the financial reporting aspect of the organization. You have to guide. So you should know everything. So the topics what you learned in this subject not only important for the examination but also for the entire life. So because of that, in consolidation, each and every aspect of consolidation is covered in this subject. So it includes consolidated cash flow, consolidation of foreign subsidiaries, complex groups. All these consolidation aspects are included. Okay, so how to, can you guide way that we should make notes and watch videos? Actually, as I mentioned, the watching the videos is as per the schedule. So answer to your question is there within the video itself, right? I explain, okay, these are the important topics and this is what you need to note down. So all these things are there in the recorded videos. So what you need to do is watch and complete the recorded video during that particular week itself. And each and every topic would be covered through the PowerPoint presentations. Those PowerPoint presentations, including the mind maps, are shared with you. Is that all? Any other questions? Right, okay then. Thank you very much for attending the session. Okay, one more question, fine. How to manage the exam time? So very important, I told you these are bulky paper, so managing the time is critical. So this is why I start the exam preparation module in September, not to wait until the last moment. And that exam preparation module, the revision course, consists of 100 hours, covers the entire theory. On those videos, again I'll explain you how to structure the answers in terms of the examination within the time frame available. Okay, so what are the areas that must be there in the answer? And also that's why I mentioned that practice by writing, not by watching the videos, not by just reading it, reading the tute, but by the way of answering by yourself. So the self-review is the best way to learn. You look at the question, answer, time it and answer, right? And at the end, you get it reviewed by yourself. Then you can understand your mistakes. Then answering to this particular question, what you need to do is, one of the mistake that a lot of students are doing is, you answer to one full question for the first time in the exam hall. Don't do it. What you need to do is at least 3 papers. Before you go to the examination, you have to have the examination set up in the place where you are, no disturbances, no mobile phones. You have to take the entire paper. It can be a model paper, it can be a past paper question, past paper. You have to answer within the 3 hours available. Thereafter, take a break of 30 minutes or 1 hour and take another 2 hours and review that answer that you have written. And that is actually the self-review what I have mentioned. So you must do it for at least 3 papers. You can do it for 5, that's best. That's better. Right? So in that way, definitely you can overcome this issue in terms of managing the time. So yet again, about those, the tips and tricks, this is called examination tips and tricks, we'll be covering under the exam preparation module. Yeah, there's a question whether the past papers are covered. Yes, speak to the students who has followed the course in the recent examination. So 100% of the past papers starting from 2020 would be covered. Okay, that means when it comes to examination cycle, you have 2 sessions for a year. No, that means 10 past paper questions are covered. All the accounting standards and the consolidation questions. In addition to the past paper questions, model paper questions like ACCA questions are covered. So you can get the details from the students who have followed the SL01 course in the previous batches. So that's why it requires 100 hours. So you have not come across 100 hours of revision in studies normally, right? But for this paper you need it. So in addition to the essential theory module, exam preparation module is 100 hours, 80 hours of recorded videos and 20 hours of live sessions. Yeah, examination is open book, but don't believe on that, because you don't have time to look at the books and answer in the examination. It's heavily time pressured. It is open book, that's true, but I don't recommend for you to look at the book and answer the examination, because it actually kills your time. Unless otherwise absolute necessity, so don't rely on that. Okay, do we need to regularly read the standard book. It's up to you if the time is available. If you are a full-time student, you can do that. But I guarantee and I assure that what is there in the slides and the videos are more than enough for the examination. Yet again, you can get the recommendation from the students who have followed the courses, because in terms of the standard, so that's why I said that each and every standard is covered in your PowerPoint presentation. That is actually the summary of the accounting standard. But one thing that the students are doing is actually they try to make a summary out of my standard. That means my presentation, don't do it, right? Because I have made the summary from the standard, what is important for the examination. Each and every aspect of those tudes are important. You should not make a summary by yourself and study. You can do the mind mapping to understand, to remember, but don't try to make a summary out of the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Any other questions, students? No? Okay, right. Okay then, so with that then we'll make a conclusion for the introduction session. So from today onwards, you can start watching the videos which are available in the LMS. Right. Thank you.
Infinity Space. වෘත්තීය ගිණුම් කරන අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා වෘත්තීමය සන්නාමය.